Hey guys, this is Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. It's Saturday, so it's an update video day, and there's actually a lot to talk about today. So one of them I'm going to start off before I show you this head is the previous video I did about the Sprint car heads, and I said that Gertie Engines had gone out of business. Well, someone acquired that company, and they got a hold of me and like, hey, we're still in business, and I guess they offer warranty, and they're still servicing the old engines from back in the day, which is great. So I'm glad to hear that that's continuing, because I thought once he had passed that the business kind of fizzled. So maybe it had a lapse or something, I'm not for sure, but good to see it's picked back up. So that's great news, because like I said, a lot of companies don't stick around. Just to give you an idea, one of them here, I'm in the Broken Arrow, but that's a suburb of Tulsa. Well, Bixby, which is also a suburb of Tulsa, used to have a sprint car engine builder there. Westmar Racing Engines, really big in the sprint car industry. One of their owners had passed, and then there was one that was left, and he was keeping it going for a while. Well, it just ended. So yeah, that was trust me, when there's a loss, companies typically fade. So I was like, great to hear that at least Gertie's continuing on. So anyway, that's one thing. This is the next thing. So this came in the other day for you Mopar guys. These are our 440 Mopar Eldebrock E Street head. These have been a future video. This guy sent me in to do some work on it, but I'll get to show some of that stuff, which is kind of neat. Now, some of you probably saw last week we talked about the NASCAR heads, which they're actually somewhere here. Yeah, they're right there. I flowed those SB2s. That'll probably be a video on Wednesday. So yeah, coming up on Wednesday. I do want to show you this. This is nothing to do with that, but this just happens to be something to see. So this poor customer, he's been waiting forever for me to get to port this manifold because he wants me to mill so much off this thing. This is a Brodix BM1000, really great intake. If you watched any of my small block Chevy dyno mule stuff, this intake did really, really well. However, when I said before, I had a problem with it right back here where the oil fitting went, right? And so anyway, that one's been sitting here, but another customer ordered one from me, and I'm just going to my little porting room here, and I'm gonna show you this because they updated it. So this is the same intake of BM1000, exact same thing. But now I notice it has a star back here, and look what they did. They put a notch now for the oil, so which is good. So anyway, this one's getting ready to get ported today. That other one that's out here, sorry, dude. Oh, a Ford intake. Yeah, I have a stack of these. This is a BMP 4500 for a small block Fords for one of my busiest. He's my number one customer. But anyway, this is for ZSR racing engines. It's that one, and I got two mid-rise Holly high rims to get done. So there's a lot for those to get done. So see what I mean? There's a ton of work. But anyway, yeah, this one's going to be a little bit. So, but that's that. But let me talk about some of the dyno mule stuff, because that's really the thing I know a lot of you want to hear about. So prepare for my face again. Here's the update on the 540. Now the 540 is really close. I'm about to show you two pictures here in a second at the end of me talking here. You can see where we're at on the whole process. It's really, really close. Probably, I'd say within the next 2-3 weeks, probably. Maybe even sooner. But for those that aren't familiar, it's a 540 big block Chevy monster cam I got for it. It's a 275, 288, and 820 the lift on the intake and 800 on the exhaust. 112 lobe separation. I wish I could tell you the exact compression ratio, but there's a lot. For one, I had the pistons milled back in the day by Rebco, which I found out this week during Wichita he's done. He's calling it quits. So another great company. They're like the only one I knew that did pistons, strictly piston, like not manufacturer, just piston machining. Gone. Gosh, so I was like, dang. Anyway, he was the one that milled those pistons, and I can't find my records on it at all to figure out how much I had milled off. Initially, the pistons are 38cc dome. I know I had to get to 11.5 to 1 for the engine master rules, but I run in the RHS heads back then. I can't find the Facebook page or Facebook market page where I sold those RHS heads, so I could see what the chambers was, because I for sure forgot to write it down somewhere or can't find it, so I could figure out what CC those were, because I think they were like 131, so I could figure out what I had the dome at. But even then, last week, Gary, he went to assemble it, and it had no piston valve clearance, as in like 5 thousandths. So what he had to do is he took it all back apart, and he had to, on the exhaust side, not the intake side, he had to add a clearance. So he milled off like 100. Well, if you do the math, that's 4.5 cc's. It just got removed. So the compression ratio, I don't know, it's probably going to be really between 12.5 and 13 to 1. It's kind of a guess. I think that's a pretty good guess, but am I 100% certain? I have no idea. It really is truly a guess. But anyway, it's all together, sort of. I had to mock up this one intake I have, which is Edelbrock 2896 that I want to try. Someone else had welded up on the top, so we have to cut that down. But that's pretty close. But the other news, right before I made this video, I called Velocity Carbs and said, hey, do you have an E85 carb, like a down air one? He goes, no, but I got this twin blade. So it's like 1450 CFM E85, because I told you I was going to run it with the compression ratio that it is. I was going to run it on probably like 110 and then also E85. So yeah, we get to see that will be on there too, which would be really neat. Hoping for big power out of this thing, but it's only got the ProMax 317 heads. And part of the reason why it doesn't have any piston to valve clearance is because those heads, if you remember, we used them on the 496. I milled them from 119 cc's down to 110 cc's, which was 54,000. So yeah, that's the reason why there's very little piston valve clearance anyway. Well, it didn't help, I should say. The heads don't really flow that much. They flow like 386. I don't think it's 317 runner, so it's going to peak way early. That's going to probably be the limiting factor. It's probably going to make a ton of torque though. But anyway, so that's what's going on with it. Here's some pictures of that intake so you can kind of see, but it's getting close. And then let me talk about some other things that are really cool. The next cool thing I want to talk about is this. So I had a customer come in, and we've been a customer for a long time, and we've known each other for quite a while. And anyway, he's like, you know, I just got this 5.7 Hemi that came out of a sheriff's car, and I'm just trying to have fun with it. And I was like, man, I sure would like to do it. I really want to do a dyno thing with one of those. And he goes, you want to just use it? And so I was like, hell yeah. So this is big. To me, it's big. I really do want to do that engine. But it's a 5.7 Hemi. It's out of a 21 vehicle Charger or whatever that the sheriff's department used to run. I'm going to get to play with that. So I'm going to get a hold of Brian Tooley. Hopefully he can help me out, because I have zero experience with the camshafts on those. And you're like, wow, this should be a piece of cake. Just do like the same lobe separation and stuff as you would others. You can't on Hemis because the valves kind of aim towards each other. So some of the stuff you would do, you can't, because they'll literally crash into each other. The other thing is, like, the crossflow is so good on a Hemi, you wouldn't do the same type of camshaft. But ideally, if I had enough money, if I was balling like, I don't know, Steve Morris or something, I'd probably put like a kit into it to make a 408, and then I'd have a 408 small block Chevy, a 408 LS, and then the 408 Hemi, and I could see what all three make. Of course, I couldn't put the same camshaft in the Hemi because of the, like I said, the valves and stuff. But as it is, we're probably going to run it in the stock configuration. I'll just get a Brian Tooley camshaft. Maybe I'll do some little stuff with the heads. Thinking about running a carb intake and stuff on it just because it's easier, so I don't have to buy like the whole Holley wiring stuff for fuel injection. Eventually, I know I'm going to have to, because for some of the dyno stuff, but just not yet. I'm just not there. But that will be cool. So look for that. But the thing is, like, I don't want to get your hopes up, because I hate being that YouTuber. But because you got the 540 for sure is up. And then probably in between there, after that, or slightly before, might be the small block Chevy back on. Then I'm going to test 2 tunnel rams. I got a set of tri-Y headers to try as well. And then also probably going to switch to the AFR 227 heads on that small block Chevy. And then hopefully by then, the LS will be done. Now, here's your news for the LS, because this is also big. Very, very, very big news. For those who are unfamiliar, having a 4A LS build put together currently. Dunsworth is doing that too. Gary's doing it again. That one's got the exact same cam specs as in the small block Chevy, except for slightly more lift, just because of the way things kind of worked out. Don't have the head steel. So I've got one small bore LS3 head. I've talked to ProMax and said they're going to give it but never get out. Hopefully we can get that. But if you watch my videos and you went back in time just a smidge, you would see me doing I was developing a port for a company. I didn't mention the company's name because I don't know if I can. But I developed a port for them. And it was kind of like using the Liberty casting. And I had ported that, and they'd already had one that was CNC ported. And I spent quite a bit of time, and it really, the velocity profile was great. It picked up some flow in certain areas, but not like, oh my God, this is so much better. But I knew, like, looking at it and the shape and everything, I was like, I like this. It just, on the flow bench, it's not that much better. Sent it out to him, said, good luck, here you go. He had it digitized, got it cut. It was up 25 to 30 horsepower with others. If you look at the flow sheets, there's like no way. Because there's only like maybe 5 CFM at peaks, and some of the other places it might be 10. It was better. I'm buying that head. So that's one I'm going to use for the LS dyno mule. So that thing will make some steam too. Ideally, I really would like to do the small bore LS3 Pro Max heads, because that heads is close to what the heads are that are on the small block shipping now. So I'd have a closer comparison. You see what I'm saying? Or even if I could compare it to when the Pro Max Project X 215s were on. Both had the same size valves. You get the idea. However, it may not happen because I'm still waiting for the heads, which is infuriating. But anyway, so after that LS gets done, maybe then I'll probably be on round 2 of big block by then point. But at some point in there, a Hemi, which would be cool. I still got to get a lot of stuff for because I have 0 parts for Hemi. It's like I got to get headers, got to get the carb intake, the ignition box to run the thing. It's quite a bit, but again, cool. And then we'll talk about one more thing. I keep switching my arms because the arms get so sore. I mentioned, I thought, man, you guys come up with ideas and I'll do a video. So on last Monday, I did a technical video. For the record, from a YouTube standpoint, that's a disaster. Here's why. I will spend so much time doing those technical videos and they'll get half the views of like a video just showing some random thing, which I don't understand, but half. So it's like the payout for me is just not there. But I'm going to still keep doing them because I think you want to learn. But in that video, I said, I think I'm going to do some classes. And I had enough interest. So this is a rough plan. And I'm going to ask for you, if you want to be interested, I'm going to ask you to do this. But it looks like I'm going to try to do it somewhere in July, like in the heat of July, because I don't plan to race and it's hot. No way. And also the race season kind of dies down, so it's not quite as busy as far as the shop work. So I think I'm going to try to do a weekend class sometime in July. If you're interested, this is the following directions part, because I need to know that you're able to follow directions before I can teach you anything. Because if you can't follow these, the hope of me teaching you anything important seems kind of pointless. Email me at weingartnerracing@gmail.com and say, I'm interested in importing class. And you have to do this. So there's 2 parts. It's almost a test for you. You have to email me, tell me your name, and tell me what you want to learn. And then I'll figure out how to do class. The class size is probably limited to 6 because there's not much more I could hold in here. I got to move the cards and stuff out and everything else. It will not be cheap. It's going to be $1,000. I can already tell you that. I thought about just doing, like, if you wanted to come individually and make them come for a day and I charge you for that, I'd be cool with that too. But anyway, that's tentatively, we'll try maybe in July. It'll be the first time doing it. The plan for that is, if this comes to fruition, which I give it about a 60% chance of happening. Because the problem with July too is I don't know when my son swims obviously, which you guys know if you're watching this, but he does long course season in July, and I think the championship's somewhere in July, but I don't know what date that is, and it's all weekend, so it can't be like, well, I'll just go. Can't do that. And it's all day, which I want to go, obviously. So I need to figure out a way to work around that. But the plan for the curriculum will go like this. I'm going to find your answers, figure out what you all want to know, what you need to know before the answer that question, figure out a curriculum to teach all that within 2 days and get everything covered, and show you stuff maybe I think you'd be cool to know, and extra stuff. And most likely, probably what I would have you do is, it won't be like a normal class per se. My thought was you're going to probably have to sign a whole bunch of waivers and stuff, but I'll have you grind, and I'll show you how to grind. And I'll probably have you bring your heads. So if you've got a project you're working on or something, bring your head. And then we can maybe put it on the flow bench and see what's good and what's bad and what you could change and things like that. So it'd be probably more to it than just a normal thing. That's the rough plan. So if you're interested, weingartnerracing@gmail.com, and tell me what you want to know, want to learn. And anyway, don't give me, I've got a 63 Camaro. I know they don't exist. And I had it since I was 16 and blah, 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 blah for 4 pages before you answer the question. That's all you got to do. Anyway, so there's that. And I think pretty much wraps up the entire thing. Besides, let me show you this. Good news, good news, good news. That's from Duke's Hazard. The truck is up and running. I've got it filled up with transmission fluid. It does shift, which is good. I haven't put it down on the ground yet, but getting really, really close. I can tell you this, that front pump from that Power Glide must have been whining, because once I fired up with this, there was no whining, which is great. However, I will say the reverse and park's really close together on this Turbo 400 versus a Power Glide. So what I mean, like if you have a Power Glide, you literally have 2 spots in park before you get to reverse. And the Turbo 400 is like literally one. Really close together. But anyway, that was new to me. Really, really close. The plan is to get this back on the ground hopefully tomorrow, drive this out, roll Bishop's Nova in here, and we'll start working on that finally. So there's your good news on that. So yay for that. Okay, and now that ends the technical part. Now let me brag about my son and your life lessons. Okay, just remind you, tech video's over. Now you just listen to me brag about my son, and I'm gonna give you a little short, helpful thing for you because I try to help you guys out. If you want to really work out really hard and feel like you're about to die, I'm gonna tell you how to do it. What you need to do, and I've started doing this, is you get 225 if you're a dude, 225 pounds. It's not even a lot of weight, and it's not gonna be a lot of weight. And you don't do the Smith machine. That's not real. You put the bar on your back, no pad, you're a man, and you go all the way down. You don't half pump chump it. You go all the way down. Why? Because they make your booty pop. Make your booty pop. It does for me, but also I have a butt like Kick Buttowski and a gut like Kick Buttowski too. But what you do is you go all the way down and all the way up. And what you do is you do as many times as you can. And if you ever want to feel like what it's like to see your soul leave your body, that's the workout. Because you'll be the first 10, you're like, this is nothing. This is lightweight. You get to about 15, you're like, oh, this is kind of starting to burn. You keep going, you're like, dear God, and you'll literally see you'll hear David Goggins in your mind, get hard, and you're like, I gotta keep going, right? That workout, if you don't do cardio at all, you just do 225 on the squats and you do it as many times as you can, you're going to be huffing and puffing. That's the hardest workout I ever do, is that one. I don't need to do cardio. Swimming and stuff's hard. Nothing exhausts you more than doing that one. 225 as many times as you can do. I make it to about 23 and then I can't. And it's not because my legs probably can do more, but my mind's like, you're too old for this. Danny Glover pops in my, I'm too old for this shit. And not even that old. But yeah, that's the best workout. So this is my life lesson for you. You want the best workout, you go do squats. And I say 225, but it really depends on your weights. Obviously, I can lift more weight, but that's not that much of a weight. So you find something that's moderate for you, nothing heavy, and then you just do it. You'll be gassed, guarantee. The sad part is, I can say, how did you ever figure this out? Whenever I used to do powerlifting, that's how we started our deadlift workout, was you do a set of 20, no, you do some mild warm-ups with the squats. And this is deadlift day, this ain't squat day. Mild warm-ups, and then you start doing a set of 25. You do a set of 25, and they put a piece of wood underneath your bottom, and your bottom had to touch the wood, the block. So you knew you were at the right height, didn't matter. If it didn't touch, you did another one. And by the way, I say a coach, this was adult. This is me adult, like 31, with adult coach. Nope, do it again. Again. You do 25, and then we'd start our deadlift workout. So you do 25 on the squats. Your legs are like sore. You're bad. You're like huffing and puffing. Your soul's left your body. You're waiting for the Grim Reaper to come slap you back. Anyway, and then begin our deadlift workout. But there's your lesson for you. So if you want a good cardio and stuff, that's it. You're like, that's a crappy thing. Last week you told us about a crappy show. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch any TV this week. I was too busy working. So, and now for Bishop. So this was senior night, and they swam at Bixby High School. But you might say, why didn't they have it at Broken Arrows? Our pool situation is kind of messed up, whatever. It was more of a fun swim. I wouldn't say he did his best, and I don't know. He swam the 50, and he was slower than what he had been before. I don't know. The thing with the 50 is he's not really necessarily a great sprinter. It's not bad. I mean, he averages like a 25 something. He really should be in a 24. But to me, it's like watching his reactions. He's slow. His turn on the wall seems slow. And you got to be perfect at that for those sprint deals. But when he gets the long ones, he's great. Because then it's like, it's less important. I mean, it's still important off the wall, obviously, but his stroke and stuff's better. His 200 he did the next one was 200. And it was okay. I don't know if he matched or beat his best time, but it was okay. But then also I thought this was definitely more of a goof-off thing, meet. And I mean for the whole team, because it was their senior night. They did a bunch of fun stuff. For instance, their last relay, there were 3 teams they were competing with. And it was all like their senior thing too. So they all got together and like, hey, this is the men's relay. It was supposed to be a 4 by 100 relay. So everybody's doing 100. They're like, hey guys, They all got together and said, let's do a 100 medley. Or, yeah, 100 IM or whatever. Yeah, 100 IM. Instead of just doing the freestyle like they're supposed to. And they all agreed. They didn't have to. So the coaches were probably like, what in the hell is going on? Because when they dive in, they're supposed to be doing freestyle. They all dive in, they start doing butterfly. And they go all the way down to the wall, touch, backstroke. Touch the wall, breaststroke. Touch the wall, finally freestyle. That race was amazing because Bishop led him off, and his butterfly, he was in the lead with the butterfly, gets the backstroke. He is not a great backstroker, but he stayed with them. Breaststroke got further away. He's not there. Freestyle, he was still with them, and he's with their fastest boy. It was like within a body length. Next boy took off on our side, and we got way behind to Bixby. And then our next boy was the fastest one on the team, took off, and he catched some of the ground. And then the last one, we're still behind. Our boy took off and ran him down. And right at the end, it was the loudest I've ever heard in a place. And it was amazing. And it was all for fun because obviously that's not how you're supposed to do that. So that's what I mean by like more for fun. Now, this is the important part. Bishop's Regionals are next Saturday. This is going to be huge for him. So if you're a religious person, say a prayer. Please let Bishop have his best swim ever there. He'll be in his tech suit, and I'm sure he's going to give it all he's got. And I don't even know what events he's going into. I'm hoping it's the 200 free and the 500 free. That's his best chance. Last year he made, because the way regionals work is they're a qualifying time. We have regionals in Tulsa area. We have regionals in Oklahoma City area. The top 24 swimmers overall the state go to state. So you might be 24th in Tulsa, but overall you might be 50th, so you don't get to go to state. Last year he just barely made a spot 24 by 200ths of a second in the 200. He needs to be at his best for that. It's going to be huge. I think his relay is going to do it anyway, going to make state regardless. Top 16 relays make that, and his relay is fast. But the thing about that is sometimes kids get too anxious and they jump and they get DQ'd from the relay. So then that's another thing. That's why I'm like, rely on the individual ones and let the relay be the extra. Next Saturday. So please, if you can, just say a little prayer. Do what you can. It's in Jinx. I'm hoping he shows up. I mean, he's still working very hard and everything. I'm worried about that. I really am for him. But I know he's worked all that time, but this is just tough. I hope he does it. The next thing after that, though, is regionals are on next Saturday. His birthday's on Sunday, and he'll be 17. Guys, thanks for making it through this very long video, and I appreciate you guys. I truly, truly do. Thank you. And remember, I'm no Superman, and I do not pour cast iron heads.